Hey, so I'm Mike and this is thesubstream.com, and this is the special on the road, middle of the summer, nothing new is coming out this week edition of Watch This Instead. And what we normally do is run over dudes that don't just walk in the middle of the road. So we're going to drive around this afternoon, see how many of the Substream crew that we can track down. Some of them I know are busy, so they can't contribute, but this is a last-minute thing that we put together when we realized that we didn't want to talk about Beasts of the Southern Wild, which is pretty much the only movie that's coming out this weekend, which most people can't see because it's not coming out in their city anyway. So here we go. Let's go see who we can find. Who's going to be first?
I think Tara Mason.
Let's talk to Tara Mason about what her favorite movie of the year so far is.
My favorite movie of 2012 so far is a film I saw last weekend, and it's Sarah Polley's new film called Take This Waltz, starring Seth Rogen and Michelle Williams. The film is absolutely amazing in every way. It's a story about a happily married woman that falls for an artist that lives across the street. It takes place all over Toronto, and coming from a Torontonian, it really shows off the beauty that the city holds. Michelle Williams' performance in particular was incredibly astounding, and I wouldn't be surprised if you see this film get lots of Oscar noms. So make sure to check that out and watch that instead.
You're a sane and rational person, so you're unlikely to go see Ice Age 4. What should you go watch instead? Well, my favorite movie of the year so far is still Prometheus. As soon as I saw it, I knew immediately that a lot of people were really gonna hate this movie, but I was glad to see that a lot of people loved it just as much as I did, and the result was one of the best conversations about a film that I think you have to go all the way back to like AI, artificial intelligence, to get a conversation of that depth and intelligence on the internet or anywhere else, as we just had with Prometheus. So definitely go and see that. My favorite lead character of the year, definitely Elizabeth Shaw, is played by Noomi Rapace, and hey, come on, it's the Alien prequel. You got it.
There's been a handful of movies so far this year. It's actually not been a terrible year for movies, and at the top of the year we had a bunch of surprise sort of good movies that came out that in a period when usually you get a lot of crap. Among them was a film about a bunch of guys who go camping, and they have to deal with like all the stuff that nature has to offer, including man-eating wolves. Yes, I'm talking about The Grey. This is Liam Neeson's continuation of his the badass portion of his career. Only this time around, what was great about The Grey is that in this movie he's actually still a normal dude. Like he's very dark and mysterious, and he's the only one who knows how to kill these wolves. But when they sit around a campfire eating wolf meat, he cracks jokes just like the other guys. Like, it's a really nice kind of character moment for him, and makes the film that much better. So go see The Grey.
Do you care that The Grey is not about a bunch of guys going camping? All right.
So for my segment, I'm going to talk about what I think is the most underrated movie, not my favorite movie necessarily. And this is a movie that not a lot of people saw, although it's going to make a ton of money in, Asia and Europe, of course, as these movies always do, but nobody in North America saw it because they thought it was really stupid, which it is. It just turns out that that was on purpose. I'm talking about a movie, Battleship. Peter Berg is a really talented director who somehow got a shitload of money to make one of the dumbest action movies of all time. Except it turns out that if you give a talented director a whole bunch of money and let him play with the fact that he's making a stupid movie based on a board game that has no story, they can do some fun, interesting stuff with it, despite the fact that it's really dumb. But it's really dumb on the surface of itself, which actually makes it kind of fun. So go watch Battleship instead of whatever you're going to do this weekend instead. Give it a chance. It's dumb, but you'll like it. So we'll be back next week with a more typical version of Watch This Instead, because I'm sure somebody in the Substream crew, we all like to have opinions and argue, will think that The Dark Knight is not worth seeing. So check back next week to find out what you should apparently watch instead of The Dark Knight Rises, because I'm sure somebody will come up with something.